So Trump's plan for mass deportation starts on Tuesday and in Chicago. That's the subject of today's video, and I'll try my best to stay sensitive about these topics because I know there's a lot of thorny issues when we talk about this stuff and it could get really ugly, to be perfectly frank. I'll go through the headlines and we'll talk about this. It says here, Trump to begin large-scale deportations Tuesday. And they're going to use 100 to 200 officers. It'll be all week, so it'll be a week-long thing. From my impression of reading through this, that they're, these raids, it's going to be a political stunt. That's just sort of how I read this. And you're purposely targeting, a blue city, Chicago. Will he start to target other blue cities? I wouldn't be shocked if that's what they end up doing. And they say they're going to go after people who are in the country illegally and have criminal backgrounds, but that includes driving violations. So there's that. So don't necessarily think that all the people they're going after and sending all these officers and cameras that they're all violent criminals. It's not going to be the case. And that's where sort of Musk comes in, where they can spread whatever fake news on social media and make it appear that all the dark people are out to hurt you, when in fact they may just have a speeding ticket or something. It also says here, if there's anyone else illegally present while they make the arrest, you'll get arrested also. I was looking through this. I don't know where they're going to house these people. I know that Trump has been in the news that they're building like camps and detention centers, these kind of things. And I know that the private prison stocks went up, so someone's going to profit off these moves by Trump. It sounds like a political stunt to me, but we'll see how it carries out. There's also been talk that they're going to use military assets, but we're not sure the details of that. So, are we just going to use military bases, or are we going to use military personnel? I don't know. This is military assets. The thing that's really concerning about this stuff is just the way that it's going to be done. Are we going to be splitting up families? There's certainly a possibility that, there's someone who's in the country illegally, for multiple years, but has children who are U.S. citizens or even a spouse, for example. So that could get really ugly that way. We also have this headline, Trump advisors ramp up work on mass deportation push. And this is where it mentioned the military assets, if you guys are curious. This kind of stuff, and I'll read it. It says, advisors to President-elect Donald Trump are drawing up plans to carry out mass deportation pledge, including discussing how to pay for it and weighing a national emergency declaration that would allow the income administration to repurpose military assets to detain and remove migrants. So, I don't know exactly, which military assets they'll use, but that's what we're talking about here, right? The American military on American soil. It'll get ugly. I'm telling you, it'll get ugly. Splitting up families and using the military will get very, very ugly. We also have this headline too. Immigrants drive Nebraska's economy. Trump's mass deportations pledge is a threat. So I didn't know this actually. Many of our meatpacking plants are in Nebraska, and they have a shortage of workers there. They gave some numbers. It was, this is coming from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. It says Nebraska is one of the top meat producers in the U.S. It also is one of the worst labor shortages in the country. For every 100 jobs, there are only 39 workers, according to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. So if anyone's in Nebraska or has experience with this kind of stuff, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. I don't have any opinion other than what the numbers say. I wouldn't be shocked if that is indeed the case. For every 100 jobs, it's only 39 workers. I guess these meatpacking jobs, though, I had assumed they wouldn't pay that much. At least according to this, they were saying it pays a meat trimmer, that is. So I think there's probably different positions of this. But they're saying a meat trimmer pays $18 an hour. And then in Nebraska, the state minimum is $13.50. So it's not that low of pay, but I guess they just can't find enough Americans to do these jobs. So the article came out, and you'll see this from multiple sources, to where many of these types of companies, they would prefer just to have some sort of worker visa program or something like that for many of these workers, because the food supply is dependent on much of the migrant and immigrant labor. You also have this one. It says, a Trump voting farmers warning mass deportations would be a disaster. So this is a person who, voted for Trump and is already concerned about how Trump's going to carry out this stuff. There's a lot of issues with this. That's why I was mentioned before, the splitting up families and also, hurting the labor supply to vital industries to the USA. It's a very, very sensitive topic. That's why, I just wanted to share some stuff on this. According to this, I'll read a little bit here. It says, quote, this is from the person I showed you. He's like the farm owner, a tomato farm, that is. He says, we have to secure our borders, south and north, but you have to have a workforce in this country. There's no doubt that is going to restrict and put pressure on farming and many other industries that rely on this workforce. So that was kind of this person's point of view, right? And it's a tough issue. When I read through this stuff, kind of my mind, I was thinking, if we have a workforce in the USA, be it working in construction, be it working as your maids, your nannies, be it taking care of the elderly, be it working in the fields for food supply, working in restaurants, hotels, like a part of the country, and they're not criminals like that. How's that gonna work if you just started kick out all these people? Will the Americans go and fill those jobs? I think that's the question. And like I said, the way it's done, if you're splitting up families, it's gonna get really ugly. This is the pay situation, which is kind of interesting. Depends on which state you're talking about. So in California, right, the pay is like $19, $19.97. Kind of, I think is average. And these are for these. So this would be people illegally. They call the H-2A worker. In Washington State, it's 1982. Again, this is sort of the wages. North Dakota, 1921, and I was actually surprised on some of these. I thought it would be a lot lower. I guess in Canada they get paid less, so it's like $12.50. Ontario would be $12.35, and then in Mexico, by comparison, you only get paid $1.50. So this sort of makes it understandable why a worker would say migrate from south of the border, come and work in the agriculture and send money home, because the pay gap is huge. So that would be one thing that and this is, again, sensitive topics, but I don't know if any Republicans ever proposed that seriously, of like, hey, let's get a seasonal worker visa program going or something like that. I don't know if they've proposed that. But I do understand the idea, though, that theoretically Americans could do these jobs. Like, I completely get that. So that's the question I always pose. Would they do them? At least according to the stats here from Nebraska, that we have a shortage of workers there. The other thing is like how much of our food supply comes from other countries. So the idea would be, could the USA be self-sustaining? Not necessarily. I think some of the stuff is seasonal, but I'm just showing you guys these numbers. Interesting. So it says imports as share of U.S. fresh fruit and vegetable availability. Because I think the idea they're trying to make here, and this is from the Department of Agriculture, is that theoretically, if we had enough workers in USA, could we make enough food and just in the USA be self-sustaining? But according to this, fresh fruit, 60% of that comes from outside the country, and then I guess vegetables, roughly 37%, like that. Some of that comes outside the country. I mean that, I guess, if we don't produce enough inside. They mention wages as well. So obviously when you have these vast differences, it's hard to pay Americans more money because you're also competing with the imported goods. So theoretically, from Trump's point of view, you would put tariffs on foreign food, right? Imported food, that would raise the price for the consumers. And then that money, the tariff money, which we talked about in a prior video, will basically go to a slush fund to go to Elon Musk. That's sort of, it's like, theoretically, if instead of giving Elon Musk, you could subsidize the farmers. Theoretically, you could do that to maintain their margins and stuff like that. But like I said, it seems like they want to use this excuse of the illegal immigration thing to put tariffs on everything and then give it all to Musk and that kind of stuff. Musk's plan would be then to build humanoid robots to replace all these workers, I guess, and then all the Americans can lie on their couches and all get rich. So that's their plan. I make joke, of course, because it's a stupid plan, of course, with Musk, but I have no problem with deporting, violent criminals, these kind of things, right? I completely get that. I don't think you're gonna have anyone object to that kind of stuff. I think the issue becomes is when the economy depends on these kinds of workers, and you'll if Trump does carry out this stuff, you'll see like how deeply embedded they are into the American economy and a part of the economy, plus having family members who are American citizens. And then on top of that, if the way that they do it, the way they carry it out, with detention centers and things, if you have all sorts of human rights violations, I just think it's going to be really ugly, and I don't expect the Trump people to show any competence at all. And then on top of that, the article mentioned that they plan to use right-wing media to promote their mass deportation policies, which that'll be really ugly also. So it'll be a lot of information, you call it misinformation, disinformation out there. Musk's job then will be to tell you that all of the dark people are going to hurt you, therefore we need to kick them all out. And we'll see how this plays out. I have real problems with the way Musk, I'll just be pretty frank, is racist and basically says all day, every day, dark people are dangerous and the white people are fine. That's basically what it ends up being. It's not always the case. So I just wanted to share what's going on. Again, it starts on Tuesday in Chicago. I think they're going to target blue cities, and I think it's going to be, I think it'll be ugly. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next video.